Can you hear me, Peter? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Are you playing first, are you?
No, you can do it first and get your pipes out the way, and then that'll not annoy the. That's fine. It breaks it up. Are we on now?
I hope it went on 5 minutes ago.
Live. Well, hello, good evening. Oh, sorry. We're trying just a little new thing here tonight. Rebecca's working as a ghost moderator at the back tonight, which I'll tell you a wee bit more about later on. Anyway, welcome, folks. Sundays in Scotland, Ripple FX. Myself and co-host here, Ross McNaughton. So, how you doing, Ross? How are you tonight?
Very well, thank you, Peter. Thank you very much.
Ross is down in Pitlochry in the mainland of Scotland, and I'm up here in the Shetland Islands. So it's we're a wee bit apart. But tonight we've got an amazing show for you. We've got two really, really good guests coming on as well. We've got from Scotland, we've got a chap called Kenny Forsyth, piper, whistle player extraordinaire, played with many famous groups, which we'll speak about later on. Ross will be chatting with Kenny quite a bit. And we've also got Mary Beth Carty on, a local hero in Cape Breton, I'm told, in music, and extremely popular. Can I also remind you, please, to please message in, and Rebecca can put messages up on the screen for us. Be it anything you want to speak about at all. Hello there, somebody from Castle Donington. Hello, good evening, nice to see you. But please message in, let us know you're there. And if you've got anything you want to speak about or ask the musicians, please do that. Send in questions. We are human beings. At the end of the day, we are human beings as well. Now, we're going to start off tonight with Ross. Ross is going to play a set of tunes for you on the Great Highland Bagpipes. For the past few weeks, Ross, you've been playing small pipes, but you're kitted out tonight. And one of the reasons he was playing that, folks, was because he's got very, very understanding neighbours, but they're very big. So you have checked with everybody tonight, have you? That this is okay?
Yeah. I've tried. I've done a lot of baking this week. Baked a lot of scones and shortbread and delivered. I think we're good. I think we're good.
You can't go wrong with the shortbread thing, can you?
Well, I can. I did.
And the police, you've checked with the police, is that okay?
Yeah.
Ah, fine. Yeah, that's okay then. So anyway, Ross is going to play the big pipes for you tonight. What are you going to play us?
I'm going to play a couple of pokers, Liberton Boys, and the Black Watch Polka.
Fantastic. Take it away.
Thank you.
And Mike, folks, getting these messages to us, Ripple FX, let's share this show, share it about, do whatever you can. Yahoo! Fantastic. Pipe sounding good there, Ross. Pipe sounding good.
Tunes, that first tune's a great tune. It should be played way more.
Now, see that first tune, I have a wee interesting story about that. And Bobby McLeod from the Island of Mull used to say that tune was actually two tunes. The first two parts were called Liberton Pipe Band, and the third and fourth part was called Kilberry Ball. And when they were put together at some point in time and became a four-parter.
Yeah.
So I don't know what way round it was, if it was the Kilberry Boys first or if it was the pipe band first. I can't mind what way. Yeah. Second tune's a cracker too, though, the Black Hawks.
Yeah, beautiful. It goes great with the Royal Scots polka as well, actually.
Sounding really, really good. Tell us, Ross, when we were speaking, we've not really mentioned it a lot, but we know some folk that have been watching the show for the last month or so now, they know that we're tutors in schools and things like that. You're tutoring piping in schools. I tutor the accordion in schools and things like that. But you have another wee business that you run as well, don't you? What can you tell us a wee bit about that? Or?
My own business is called Tay Piping. That's my own piping business. Is what I do weddings and functions on as well. But the thing that it's developed into has been, I started doing a thing for teaching adults. So adults that are at a stage where all the adults out there that have said, "Oh, I wish I'd learned."
You're brave.
I know.
You're brave.
I'm brave. But it's developed like the private stuff that I teach mostly is adults that have been wanting to learn, and it's great because the way that I've developed it is it's not all about the chanter. There's a lot of silent practice that goes on that they can do in their daily stuff, and it's very it's designed on distance learning, so. Yeah. They'll learn off videos, and if they want to get back in touch, or if they can only do it once a week or once a month, then they'll just send in little video clips, and I'll send a video clip back. So it's great.
Well, I think there's been a big uptake as well in this lockdown and the present climate we're in, that people are taking up instruments, and I think taking up possibly people that played years ago and that, and wanting to take it up again and things like that. I was speaking the other day to another piper who's actually coming to me for some accordion lessons, and he works in the piping centre in Glasgow, and he was saying quite a lot of people coming in saying, "Oh, can I get my pipes going again? I used to play, but they've got that wee bit of time just now again so it's maybe a good thing for the music that everybody's piling in here and getting it going, you know." So do you do functions? You go out and play at weddings and anything else as well? Then you're for hire for that kind of thing.
Right. Even if you've not invited me, I'll be playing at your wedding.
Yeah, just turn up. You're just there. Yeah. People pay you to go away.
Yeah. I make a fortune.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a wee set of tunes in the accordion tonight, folks, and then we're going to bring on a guest, Kenny Forsyth, after that, and so I'll give you a wee set of tunes first. Here's a wee set of jigs tonight to get us going. The first one's The Wild Geese, which is about some geese that were kind of wild. And the second one is Lizzie Duncan's Fancy, I think, by Ron Ganella, a fiddle player from, he lived in Crieff. Absolutely amazing player. The third one's a tune called, Karen's just put up, my wife's just put up your website address there. Is that right, Ross?
She didn't put your one. She didn't put your one up.
No, she's never put mine up. She's put yours up. But there we go. That's life.
Thank you,
folks, watch that back. So if you need a piper in Cape Breton or anywhere in the world, there's your man. He'll come and do it. Yeah. He's played at a NASA launch, so that's if you can do that, you can do pretty much whatever you want for you. So then I'm going to play a wee Irish jig called Saddle the Pony, and then I'm going to finish off with a Canadian jig called the Murray River jig that the late Graham Townsend, the fiddler for Canada, wrote. So 4 wee jigs, and then we'll get someone else on. We'll get Kenny on to really play you some tunes. Here we go. a little set of jigs for you there, just to keep you going. And I will try and pull my screen down further the next time so you can see my fingers. Somebody was asking about that. How's it going, Ross? All right there. Can you turn your mic on?
Well played, Peter. Well played.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I would have hated to have missed you saying something good about me there.
You didn't. You didn't.
Oh.
Nah,
next time. Anyway, just before we go on to bring our first guest on, I was just wanting to say tonight, this podcast has become totally possible because of Ripple FX, and Rebecca is working backstage tonight doing the ghost techie stuff, the ghost moderator, etc. I would never have known where or how to tackle doing a podcast, to be honest. I wouldn't have thought about it. But it's incredibly, incredibly easy when you've got somebody like Rebecca doing it for you. So if there is anybody out there and you think, gee whiz, I wouldn't mind having a go at doing a show about something or whatever topic of that, and you want to speak to Rebecca, get in touch with Ripple FX, because they're there. They're helping out through the back. They're doing all that techie stuff that we're not really having to worry about. We're just here having a chat, signing up, clicking a link, and we're in, and then we're playing to you, which is wonderful. Thank you very much, my darling wife, for putting my website up there this time as well. So anyway, Ross, over to you. We're going to bring this young gentleman on. There you go. I said gentleman.
I thought we were getting Kenny.
Well, yeah. But, Rebecca, can we bring Kenny up, please?
There he is.
Sir, that's very kind. Hello. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Thank you for the young. That's very kind.
Aye.
There he is. There he is. Ross.
Will I take it away from here, Peter, will I?
Please do, and I'll just pop in if I want to ask anything intellectual.
Aye. Stop us at any point.
No, it's all right.
Aye, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, this is my debut as a presenter on any radio station, so I hope I do this. I'm sure I will do this radio station proud, and I'm sure I've got the perfect guest to do that with. So, Kenny, I can't say how happy I am for you to make this very easy for me. I know, Kenny, I know you quite well. I've known you for a number of years now, and we're going to talk about your wee story, your musical story, and the many decades now that it's spanned. I think it's better that you do the talking here, Kenny. I know I've known you for a number of years, and for me, like the folk band that's the biggest that you played with was the Tannahill Weavers, and I know that on some of the outings that we've been on, I know you've got a fantastic story about how the audition went for the Tannahill Weavers. I don't know if you can help us out with that story.
Well, day one, yeah, ground zeros. I was, well, it was in Edinburgh, in a pub in Edinburgh, somewhat inevitably. And in the pub was Gary West, in fact, a well-known personality in the traditional music world, Professor West of Scottish ethnology fame, and one-time colleague from the Vale of Atholl Pipe Band. And John Martin, the fiddler in the aforementioned pub, asked Gary who might replace Gordon Duncan, actually, who'd been in the band as the immediately prior piper, and asked, I think, John Martin, if everyone knows John. Peter, you'll know John.
Yes, very well. Yep. No, he's a great player.
In fact, the master fiddler, in my view.
Brilliant.
And so John asked Gary if Gary would be able to do it, and Gary wasn't in a position to do it. Then Gary pointed across the pub and said, but he might be able to do it. And I was on the end of that finger, and that was the entire joining. So that was the audition process done. And
that's a good addition. That's a good addition.
And it was lovely. And we were in Germany, I think, on tour a few months later. And the first gig, I do, nervous, very, very nervous. I mean, huge shoes to fill, and what an amazing band to be on the road with. And I remember looking across the stage, and there was John's smiling face at the other end of the stage, smiling back at me, the old campaigner that he was even at that point, and just utterly solid. And so all I did was play to him, and the whole thing kind of worked out from there. It was lovely.
Incredible. I don't think editions. You don't get editions like that anymore. There you
No,
go.
no, I think you have to do some work.
Imagine if that's how the X Factor works. Simon Cowell just point to the top tier, says there's the
Yeah.
there you go. There's the baritone. The baritone's up there. Take that one. Yeah.
I would have had it because apparently he hates accordion players. Simon Cowell.
No, I'm sure that's not true.
And when was that? Because like we're all different ages here, but I know Gary West. I know you. Like, so when was that? When that finger came your way? Like before the national lottery. When did the other finger come your way?
I think maybe 1988 or 89, late 80s, kind of roughly that neck of the woods. And then I was the piper with the Tannies for about 5 years, I think. Then Duncan Nicholson, Pipe Major Duncan Nicholson of Strathclyde Police Pipe Band. Then Colin Melville, fabulous player from Fort William. And then Lauren McDougall, actually, after that, more recently. All of whom are stunning musicians, in my view.
Did you replace Ian McInnes? Was it Ian that you replaced?
Well, Gordon, I think, although Ian was
Gordon.
So both at the time.
Yeah. I played in a band with Gordon, with Ian. Sorry, I played with Ian and Scottish Gas for a couple of seasons.
As a piper rather than accordionist, I assume.
As a piper. Yeah.
Yeah, no, lovely human being, Ian. In fact, I still have his weed pipes. I must get them back to him at some point.
So if you're listening, Ian.
So, and then the tour went from there. I remember the last gig of that tour. It was in Frankfurt, and it sticks in my memory. There's a place called the Brot Fabrik. That was an old bread factory. Last gig of the tour, really feeling really pleased having gotten that far. And it was all kind of working by that point. And Brian McNeil turned up in the audience. And I remember kind of seeing him at the back, and he came backstage afterwards and said some really kind words, which kind of sealed the deal for me. Survived the first two, and if Brian McNeil of the Battlefield Band said it was okay, then that was fine.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Tannehill Weavers at a festival I was playing at in Austria once, just south of Vienna, and Gordon was playing at that point, so that must just have been before you. Yeah. And we ended up taking the train up into Vienna and thought we'd go busking and make some money for beer. And we done very well for about half an hour until the police threatened to shoot us because we didn't have a permit. And that worried me. But it didn't worry Gordon.
I was still studying. I was still a student at university, and Gordon took myself during summertime, myself and one other, and I can't remember who came with us. But anyway, we went to Sauchiehall Street in Glasgow, and at that point there actually weren't buskers wall to wall. And we made a fart. I could hardly lift my case after. It was just brilliant. So we're kind of walking, trying to get back to Pitlochry, and weighed down by the weight of balloons and whatever else we had in our cases. That was fabulous.
I've never made money like that in my life.
Oh well, it only happened once. It only happened once.
Are you going to give us a wee tune at some point? Maybe that'd be good.
Yes, Ross. Shall we do that?
Yeah, I think you should. And then after this, I think you should maybe tell us how you got to the Tannies. I think that'd be a good link.
Righty-ho. I've forgotten the name. Not very good at names. Yes, I remember the name. Inisheer. So I'll just play through what is one of my favorite beautiful melodies.
God. Woo! Lovely. Beautiful melody.
I do like that tune. It is beautiful.
Incredibly strong melody. We've talked about this before on the show. One of the things we're lucky and makes traditional music so successful, I think, is that we've got strong melodies. And if you can have a strong melody as a foundation, well, you can build on it and do arrangements like you want. So
it's a little bit of a hobby horse of mine, Peter. We have the most fabulous reservoir and resource of tunes and songs, things to play. And it's just a slightly commercial thought. I know many just stunning musicians, all living really quite frugally, because they do it for the love of it. But we don't really seem to be able to, well, to be brutally frank, just kind of generate an income nearly quite so much as I think we really should from what we do. And
yeah, absolutely, I totally agree.
yeah, I'd love to see just wall-to-wall musicians pouring out of the academies in Glasgow, for example, and then going on to, you know, kind of wonderful things globally and just connecting with a bigger audience and the reward that comes with that. That'd be great.
Yep, and being able to pay a mortgage.
Yeah,
you know, because that's the big problem that we're sitting in just now. And when you see what musicians actually play for, and money-wise, if we break it down, it's ridiculous. I mean, I look at myself even leaving the house at 5 o'clock at night to go away and play at a dance or something, and you don't get back to 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, there's 12 hours. And that's got nothing to do with your gear or anything like that. And when you break down what you've actually charged somebody, you wouldn't get a plumber to come for that anyway, that's for sure.
And it is, you know, at the end of the night, and you've played all night and you've had a brilliant time, and then you're putting the mic stands away in the van at 2 a.m. And it can be quite hard work. You're wrapping cables. It's
definitely something that we do for the love of.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well,
but
you mentioned that, actually, I mean, everybody's watching a music program, so there might be somebody out there with the answer.
Yeah,
you're asking folk to text in. So if you've got a great idea that we haven't thought about as musicians, let us know. Let us know.
Somebody's just put that up just now. They're totally agree about the recognition and pay, Sandra. Absolutely. And it's something, I think it was taken for so long for granted in a lot of communities that the musician played for drink, and you sit him in the end of the corner and you just fed him drink every so often. But but we do have to eat as well.
Sometimes.
Ross, were you waving at me or Kenny there, or who are you waving at?
My brother-in-law just came up on the screen there.
Right. Okay. I was thinking, listen, what about we bring our other guest on to do a number and have a wee chat, and then go back to your story that you were going to. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring on Mary Beth Carty. Hi, Mary Beth. How are you? Can you hear us? Are you hearing us at all? Maybe not. Maybe not. No, Rebecca.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I am well.
We can hear
yes,
you.
I can hear you. Hello. How is everybody doing? I know I am hearing you. I am hearing you. Yes.
Great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Are you well? Are you
Hi.
well?
Are you able to... Okay, great. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and play some music.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yay.
𝔱𝔲𝔫𝔢𝔯.
Brilliant. Nobody, when you're playing, it's absolutely fine, Mary Beth, because it's coming over and we can hear. But just when we're speaking, we've got quite a delay, I think.
I know.
It's better.
I can do a solo monologue, I guess. That would be the only thing.
It's better now, but do you want to do that? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're up to just now, what you're doing? You're in similar situation as a lot of us with the lockdown. There's no gigs going about just now and things, and maybe tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Sure. Actually, on Thursday, we got a little announcement from our governor, Mr. Stephen McNeill, to say that we are allowed to gather in groups of 10 in our homes, outside of our homes. We're allowed to burst the bubble. So before it was like you could have a bubble family, but now we can, have several friends over. And so I was able to do a concert yesterday at my friend's art gallery here in town. I live actually on mainland Nova Scotia now. I used to live in Sydney, in the big city in Cape Breton, CBRM. But I live in Antigonish County now. And so we had a nice little show there and it was a great time. I have some, my father's doing a little cameo here in the background, reading a book. Ed,
I see that. That's okay.
Say hello, Ed.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi there. How are you doing? If we see you falling asleep or anything, we will get on to you about it. Is that okay?
My great-grandfather on the other side, William Fraser McDonald there on the wall. So
I know actually I'm friends with Chrissy Crowley on I met them last year at Orkney Folk Festival, and I noticed on their feed they were going to do some gigs as well, so they were doing some socially distanced gigs. So
it's been a while since I've been to Scotland. All my aunts and uncles and cousins are there, and I haven't been there since 2001. Actually, it's been a while, so I'll have to come over and visit you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't hear. I see that Ross is talking, but he's muted. I see his mouth moving, but I can't hear him.
That's the safest way.
Yeah, that's lucky. That's lucky.
Yeah, you're right. I was muted. But that's interesting. That it's very exciting for musicians to know that the bubbles burst. That's a great way to that's an exciting way to express that, I think. But I know for myself, I've sat down for the last 12 weeks and went completely over my music with a completely different set of eyes. I've had time to actually play it the way I want to play it, and my music's changed in the last 12 weeks, And I just wonder, I mean, Peter, you're about 4 or 5 years older than me, and your music's probably more ingrained, but has anyone else's music changed out the other three? Like Kenny, what about you? Has your music changed? Have you, in the time that we've had to play music?
I maybe not so much changed, it's just happening in a way that it wasn't happening before. And just and doing things online with friends. So Chris and Abby, you know, for example, Chris Grace runs the gigs in Comrie, a beautiful little Highland village for anyone listening who might want to visit. And there's a white church, an old white church building there that Chris's gigs runs from. And yes, if you're ever in Scotland, make sure you go. It's just a fabulous experience. And Abby, Chris's best friend, in fact, runs piping retreats that we've both been on, Ross.
Yeah.
In Inverness and along from Balquhidder as well. And so a couple of weeks ago, did something with them, all of it online, fiddled about in the studio at home and brought it all together. And actually was kind of a lovely present to give back to both of them. Yeah. Things like that have been lovely.
What about you, Mary? Have you noticed the difference in when you've had time? It's very easy. I think it's very easy as a musician to like go off on a limb, and that you end up doing. But like when you go back and isolate a little bit, it's like coming back. I was actually going to ask you about your roots. I don't know if this is the right time to do it. I might do it later. But you're a classical pianist to start with.
My roots, my hair roots, my hair roots have had it now. Gone. There's not a lot I can do about that.
I'm waiting for the gray. I don't have gray hair, and I won't tell you my age, but
Peter, your music's been non-stop the whole way through from the very first day. But are you just going on business as usual, or because you've got a massive repertoire?
Well, kind of. I started playing a set of tunes on Facebook and recording it on day one of the lockdown, and yesterday was day 100. So I've played 30, over 100 sets, because sometimes I was doing 2 or 3 sets a day and things. And I've tried not to repeat myself. So hopefully not. But as Paul Anderson said to me, you'll be playing Baba Black Sheep by this time next year if this doesn't get started.
I think it was episode 2, there was a funny thing said when we were talking about compositions. And I think Paul asked you, like, how many tunes have you written? And you said 200.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, you know what? I says, I've wrote one tune, but it's got 200 titles, because I always get a last minute groom that's like, can you write a tune for a wedding? Oh, I've got. So I've got one tune with 200 titles. You've got 200 tunes. There we go.
Yeah, that's a cunning plan. Yeah. But are you finding that? Are you going to be quite busy then, Beth? Are you going to be picking up work again and getting a bit busier again, or?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I have an actual live gig next weekend in Cape Breton, accompanying. Well, actually, I can't say too much about it because it hasn't been officially announced yet. And then I'm starting to do online work. I've actually been in university until a week ago or 2, so I missed out on a lot of isolation because I had to do university work. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you studying? Not him.
I just finished a Bachelor of Education degree.
Ah, fabulous! Yeah, I teach in schools, and so does Ross. So, and Kenny, what do you do as well? Are you doing something?
Well, interestingly enough, connected with education, as of January, I run 4 fully outdoor preschool nurseries. One in Oban, one in Fort William, one in Elgin, and one just outside Inverness.
Oh my goodness!
They're brilliant things. I didn't know anything about preschool education until about 10 years ago, and then kind of got progressively involved through my day-to-day work, and then ended up just at January there taking over. It's a social enterprise, We provide a service to kind of 300 families, and these kids arrive and they spend most of their time completely outdoors, dressed properly for the outdoors, of course, and our preschool education happens that way. And rather than counting blocks or Lego bricks or whatever, they're generally counting stones or twigs on trees, and you know, there's a whole range of reasons why that's just a good thing for a kid. Even in Scottish winter, more than happily, kids will go and have a great time.
Because I think the education system's looking at doing more of that, aren't they? My wee boy's in nursery just now, and he's going into P1 after the summer, and even P1 is quite a lot more going to be based on being outside and doing things.
Well,
doing real.
The whole COVID-19 thing has made a huge change to the perception of just being outside and what it means. And for education, that's made a kind of a huge. And actually, all these ideas that have been in the system for years and years and years are really suddenly beginning to take hold in a way that they haven't before. And it's a joy to see, because it's the right thing to be doing, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very much so. Ross, you were going to ask Kenny about his journey with the Tannies, weren't you?
I was going to grill Kenny. Can I grill Kenny now? Is that okay?
Aye, go for it. Aye. Okay. Look what I've brought tonight, by the way. I've brought my Viking helmet.
All right. Well, Kenny's going to need that.
That's the very thing for the job tonight.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh boy, Kenny's got a safari.
Ah, yeah. Right, Kenny.
Right, Mary Beth, where's your hat?
Oh, where's? I don't have Mary. I don't have a hat either. It's fine. Don't you worry. Don't feel you need one.
So I've got a pair. I have a pair.
A pair.
Right, before the end of the show, we all need to have a hat on. There we go. There's the deal. Right, Kenny.
I'll find something.
Right, Kenny. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Here we go. I think you mentioned the Tannies were what, the late 80s, between 87, 89, 88, something like that. And you took over from that period post Gordon Duncan, I think.
Yeah,
that's what you said there. And huge shoes to fill.
Unfillable, I might add. Just unfillable.
But then there must have been something before that, and I think Gordon features in that as well. You've got, like, you're a piper, I'm a piper, and pipers come from piping. There's nothing before it. It's the instrument, and then you go through pipe bands, or like, what's the start story for you? So
it'd been the late 70s, I think. I'd have joined the Vale of Atholl pipe band from Pitlochry, aged 12, 13 maybe, and joined the novice juvenile band that had just been set up at that point. Ian Duncan had been pipe mage, who you all know very well. You're certainly, Peter, you'll know Ian. Gordon's brother Ian was pipe major. Gordon was pipe sergeant. The senior band at that point, I think, had just gotten to grade 3, and that contained people in it like Sharon Walker, Gary West, the aforementioned Gary West, and Gordon, and various others, Malcolm Robertson, all from Pitlochry. And that formed a nucleus and core of a band that just went from there. And I was the second wave of kids, I guess, that went into the senior band. I joined the senior band in grade 2, and then it did what it did. And what an amazing foundation for life that turned out to be, not just musically, in pretty much every way. And then when I joined the Tannies, I left. Well, I didn't ever leave the Vale, actually. I just didn't go to practices for 30 years. And in the interim, during that 30-year period, the thing became legendary. I think, actually, you'll both know more about this than I really, looking at it from the outside. I think that unit is extremely well known for its musical creativity and what it did for pipe bands through that period. And, I still wander around the games parks now and hear all these tunes kind of bouncing back off the walls, thinking, yes, no, that, no. And it was a joy I had no idea what was going on at the time, other than it was just brilliant. Being in the bus, for example, being on a bus leaving Pitlochry at 3 or 4 a.m. to go to Dunoon for Cowl games, ludicrously early, and then going through the route through the Highlands and all the glens rather than the ferry seemed to take forever. And I have a very clear memory of being half asleep. Caper Cayley's album, The Blood is Strong, if you remember that, one of the earlier albums, was playing on the stereo on the bus, and just traveling through that landscape was glorious. And a very real mental picture of thinking, wow, this, even age 16, 17, thinking, what a brilliant thing to be doing.
I think one of the things, Kenny, I remember for the 𝔩𝔬𝔬𝔬𝔡 pipe band was they were exceptionally musical people. It wasn't just piping. There was all sorts of things going on, and people could play other instruments. They could sing. They were great singers, a lot of these lads, and they used to sing all the old Hamish Henderson songs and all that kind of stuff. It was great. It was just magic. It was just a great atmosphere.
And that's one of the other memories of the bus, absolutely. And some of the songs are repeatable and came from canons like that. Others are unrepeatable and best left till after beer. But they to have a kind of a natural harmonic structure happening with a pipe band in 4 or 5 parts as you waded your way through these huge hymns. It's one of the places, so in my head, that these songs came from, was just singing them on that bus, going to and coming back from competitions.
Brilliant.
And I think actually, going back to the outdoor learning thing, and just what grounds a human being in life, that experience, second to none. I think I've been drawing on it as a human being ever since. And the only reason the Tannies happened really is that the traditional music influence on that bus was, the Bothy band. Endlessly listened to the Bothy band. And the Tannies, and the Battlefield Band, and the Chieftains,
and Davy Spillane. Davy Spillane,
huge. His influence is huge.
Moving Heart.
And I have a very clear memory of on an aeroplane going on a very famous trip to San Francisco to play Santa Rosa Highland Games, amongst other things. And I actually had a new Walkman. Walkmans were a new thing at that point. I had a tape of Moving Hearts Storm album, and playing that tape going across the Atlantic still sits in the head as a kind of a formative musical moment. And then as a result of that, and with help from Professor West, there ended up in the Tannies.
Yeah, brilliant.
I guess that's the primary reason why.
Yeah. A great Lincoln story. That it's brilliant. I think it's a great story. It'd be hard to do in modern times. You wouldn't be a hard thing to do that. Repeat that cycle in modern times, I think.
Well, I think pipe bands are just different. No, they work harder. Certainly, absolutely work. I joined Fife Police towards the end of last year, about September. And actually, because of my new job in January, I incredibly sadly had to drop out because I just couldn't attend the practices. And Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays, 2 or 3 times a week, week in, week out, to make the standard happen. And it was really quite upsetting. I didn't want to leave. I was kind of loving playing. Dougie Murray is an exceptional musician himself and a lovely human being. You'll know Dougie.
A great band. Band. Really
very,
good band. Yeah.
Very, very musical. So maybe once the job calms down a bit, I can get back to it.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't know and forget about with pipe bands. And when you get up to that high standard, it's still all voluntary, and it's a hobby. It's a hobby. So when you're committing to something 3-4 nights a week and things like that, and weekends to go away and do contests or whatever else, it's a lifestyle. It becomes a lifestyle.
I think somewhere between a hobby, a lifestyle, and insanity, Peter.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
You have to be driven somewhere to do that in this day and age.
Have you got another tune up your sleeve that you could maybe give us?
Yeah.
That would be good. I see Mary Beth's got her cat here now. I'm wondering what the cat will think of the bagpipes for us.
It's one of these ones.
Looking at the list I scribbled earlier, the hut on Staffen Island. Why not?
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you.
I love that tune.
Great wee tune.
Because Anna Massey played. Do you know Anna Massey, the guitar player?
But yeah.
She runs a blog called the Black Isle Correspondent, which is on Instagram. And if anyone wants a daily, in fact, for your daily update, you can't make up, try the Black Isle Correspondent. She lives in Fortrose and tell you what goes on is the introduction music, and in itself is a joy. And you get a wee insight into life. And a few weeks ago, she played that tune, and it reminded me of just how much I like it.
Fantastic.
Very well.
Mary Beth, can I hand over to you, Mary Beth, a little bit? I know, can you remember to unmute your mic as well? That would be cool. And can you hear us, Mary Beth?
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? Mary Beth, can you tell us us a little?
Yes. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about
Hami get 𝔩𝔬𝔬𝔬𝔡. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
That's better than me at Gaelic.
I'm good. Yeah.
Listen, can you tell us a wee bit about how you got into the music and things like that, and what drew you to the music and the lifestyle that you're living now? And then maybe give us a song.
Oh, what? Sorry, you're cutting out too. I'll tell you a little bit.
Would you be able to tell us what I'll do? I'll just leave it to you after this. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about how you got into the music and what drew you to this kind of music that you're playing, and then maybe sing us a song? I'll leave it to you, and then we'll not.
Sure. Yes. So I just. Okay. How did I get into music? It's just I can't explain that. I guess I was just born with it. How did I get into that lifestyle? It's just something within me that I can't explain. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at, and that's what I enjoy, and that's just my fate. That's my path in life, and that's where life has led me. And there's no other explanation. So I'll sing for you a song now that is from the Scottish poet Robbie Burns. He wrote this song over 200 years ago. It was published in 1790 something. And I think it's really relevant at this time. It's called The Slave's Lament. I'm just going to put down this cat. This is Rolly, by the way. I'm going to put down this cat and grab my tambourine. Unless, Rolly, you want to be like a tambourine machine. I don't think you would like that, Rolly. Here. Go over here. All right. So this song is called The Slave's Lament. It was in sweet Senegal that my foes did me enthrall. For the lands of Virginia, torn from that lovely shore, and must never see it more. And alas, I am weary, oh. All along that lovely coast, there's no bitter snow or frost, like the lands of Virginia, oh. Their streams forever flow, and their flowers forever grow. And alas, I am weary, oh. the burden I must bear, while the bitter scourge I fear. In the lands of Virginia, Virginia, yo. And I think on friends most dear, with a bitter, bitter tear. And alas, I am weary, weary, oh. And I think on friends most dear, with a bitter, bitter tear. And alas, I am weary, weary, oh.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Thank you very much.
Top line.
We have a big delay with you, but it's coming over fine when we get to the point that when you're singing. So that's super. So thank you. A bit of the bard there. A bit of the bard. Sometimes we're getting a long delay, and sometimes we're not. It's difficult to know what's happening. So
I think maybe while there isn't a big delay, Peter, to the left of Mary there, I can recognise an album cover. I think, I don't know if you can show us that. I've been Googling that all week. It's fantastic.
Ah,
Yeah.
That album. I'm working on a new album now, and I really look forward to really digging into work on that, and it should be out by fall, some point before the end of the year.
good stuff. Good. Ross, are you wanting to do a wee set of tunes tonight, Ross?
I could do another set of tunes. I was going to ask Mary a question just while there isn't a delay.
Good.
I'm very interested with
Sure.
musicians that have come from a certain background, and reading your bio this week, you come from a classical piano background. And then you went to Halifax, and what's interesting to me in between that, learning the classical side of music and then going into that kind of bandy sort of thing, had you already cemented the style that you wanted to play before you went there? Or did you take the knowledge of that classical style of learning and find something that worked in Halifax? Like, is it
That's a great question, and it's so long ago. I was 18 years old when I left here to go to Halifax, and I had the classical piano, but I was also very much obsessed with popular music, and I learned to play the bass in high school in the high school band, and then at home I taught myself how to play the acoustic guitar. And when I was about 20 years old, I was at a party and found an accordion, picked it up, and really fell in love with that because, of course, the piano is not the most portable instrument. So I'm just a person who loves trying new things, trying different instruments. I play the bones. The bones I picked up when I was living in Quebec City. Don't know how that came across, but yes. To answer your question, the classical influence, I think it really influenced the way that I practice and the fingering that I have, that I learned, like kind of the techniques I learned on classical piano, I was able to kind of take over to my practice and in the accordion and Celtic music. But I'm self-taught on the accordions, so Peter, maybe we can line up a lesson or something. It would be really nice to take a lesson with a real accordion player like yourself.
I reckon you would teach me things. Don't worry. Do you want to, Mary Beth, see when it's not too bad a delay just now, just in case we lose you, do you fancy playing a tune on the accordion just now or something for us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, I'll play a set of jigs.
Oh, nice.
I'll start off with the Judic jig, which is also known as the Road to Judic. And then sorry, guys.
Love that jazz improvisation at the end there.
More like a train wreck.
Brilliant. Great. That's super. Ross, are you fancying a wee pipe tune?
I could do, eh?
What's this Ross McNaughton, king of the Tummel, written here?
I was down at the river tunnel the other day. I had a great day in the sunshine. So I very rarely do I get a bit of time to unwind. So I was sitting at the side of the river tunnel yesterday in the sun, and that's what I felt like. So I thought that'll be my wrestling name for tonight.
Wrestling name. Gosh, wonder what I could come up with for a wrestling name.
Broken Johnny.
Yo, what are you going to play?
I'm going to play one of my own tunes. A tune called "Squirrel on the Bridge."
Right. Sounds like it may have a story behind it.
It does, aye.
Yeah. It's not about a squirrel on a bridge, is it?
No.
No.
But it goes into another tune that I've never been able to play once right, and it's the Little Cascade. But it seems to work really well. I keep doing it, and I've not done it right yet, but I'll do it right tonight. I promise.
This could be the night. This could be it.
Could be it.
Go for it. Cool. Good man. Excellent. Nice to hear the little cascade as well. It's a lovely tune.
I prefer playing it round a lot. Like some folk like it pointed, some folk like it round. I love playing it round. I don't know what other people think.
Well played, Ross.
Thank you, Ken.
Good.
Very nice to accompany.
I'm going to play the folks a wee tune. This is a wee tune. It's a slow air I'm going to play. It's one that I wrote for all the staff in the hospital up here in Shetland, and it's called NHS Shetland. Just as a wee thank you for everything that they've been doing and working really hard. Being a wee small island, it's been kind of tough, and we've had quite a few cases, and they've had to deal with quite a lot. But and of course, we've got no real top stuff. So anybody that got too ill had to get flown away, kind of style thing, and all that kind of stuff. But we've got there. So NHS Shetland. It's just a wee air that I wrote for them, just as a wee thank you. Cool. There we go. Thank you.
It's a lovely tune, Peter.
That's beautiful, Peter. That's beautiful, Peter. That well played.
I like the way you picked the banjo up there.
That's my social distancing tool.
Yeah, I like the way you look very professional there, standing there with that banjo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the mic on.
That's brilliant, guys. I think we've got time for a tune each, if you want, tonight before we finish. If anybody fancies, Mary Beth, do you fancy having a tune? Because you seem to be not too badly delayed. Listen, thank you so much to both of you for coming on and helping us out with this. Because it's great. It's all about just connecting people in whatever way we can just now. And it was interesting there when Ken was on straight away earlier on. There was somebody from Holland on straight away saying hello and things, and it's people that's obviously seen you when you're touring and things like that, and all these kind of things. It's great. It's really good. So, Mary Beth, what would you like to give us this time?
Well, I was blabbing in Gaelic there, so I guess I'll sing a Gaelic song. This is one I learned from Angus MacLeod. Gons mi boy na chor ka yag mi bames caro so que no dos na hodio ni aro e la ho dos na hodio ya mi bames caro so que ya mi ma one click me os na ho dos na hodio ni aro e la ho dos na hodio mi beams cut off, so can I be my one? Like me on the whole, roast the whole video. Eeny, oh, no way, the whole, roast the whole video. Mi beams cut off, so can I be the Garcia, roast the whole video. Eeny, oh, no way, the whole, roast the whole video. Garsin, ye can baking fairs or hold to show roast the holiday. Eeny, oh, away the whole roast the holiday. Ye can baking fair to hold to spectacle dance and going dogs with whole roast the holiday. Eeny, oh, away the whole roast the holiday. The whole just spectacle dance and going dogs like whole roast the holiday. Eeny, oh, away the whole roast the holiday. Spectacle dance and going dogs like killing big and dancing killish whole roast the holiday. Eeny, oh, away the whole roast the holiday. Eeny, oh, away the whole roast the holiday. Hami pina, pyar mara pina, kitchenganini, pyar mara paminoina, hami pina, pyar mara kitchenganini, horo, can I like me, horo, can I win a waiting, horo, can I like me, horo, can I now wait, pyar mara paminoina, hami pina, pyar mara paminoina, kitchenganini, pyar mara paminoina, hami pina, pyar mara kitchenganini, horo, can I like me, horo, can I horo, can I like me? She showed us again, gotta be a dog. She showed us again, be a dog. She showed us again, gotta be a dog. She showed us again, let go and let go and let go and let chicken do it. Go and let go and let chicken do it. Go and let go and let go and let chicken do it. Go and let go and let chicken do it. Gotta be a dog. She showed us again, be a dog. She showed us again, gotta be a dog. She showed us again, gotta be a dog. She showed us again, let go and let go and let go and let let go and do a need, go and go and go and
Very good.
Lily was there dancing in the background. Thanks, Lily.
Yeah, you've got your own dance troupe. Hi.
I thought you were resurrecting your dad off the couch there, but it's not. It's someone else.
No, it's not that. That's still there. Yeah, he's all right. He's fine.
I've got multiple. Yeah.
That was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
lovely.
Very nice to hear. You put me at shame because I can't speak Gaelic at all.
Well,
So
I can't play accordion. So.
I was only once in a Gaelic choir in Benbecula with the words of the song stuck in the back of the person in front of me trying to sing it, and made it onto national television. The only person that couldn't sing the. Anyway, there we go. So that's that. So Kenny, Ross, get Kenny to play us a tune before we go.
Ross, right, Kenny, play a tune.
Okay. How much time?
Kenny, make it a good one. Don't make it a good one. Okay.
Do we have time? How much time do we have?
You're all right. You're fine. Go for it, man. Whatever you fancy.
In that case, a tune, which is, I think, an Irish tune, half remembered from early adulthood and might be completely different to whatever the hell the original might have been. And then a very well-known march, I think. Probably in that order.
Fantastic. Magic tunes. Magic.
What's the name of that second tune, Peter?
Aye, I know. I was just going to ask you the same thing, and it's like one of these tunes that we know, but I love the way you played that there. It was just so laid back and just had lovely style with it. And,
Thank
lovely.
you. I'll
Very, very nice.
name, but thank you.
A tune played with feeling. You cannot beat it.
Nope, I agree.
Glencoe merch?
Oh, the Glencoe march. That's it. Mary Beth just said. Mary Beth said. That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Thank you.
Ross, turn your mic on, eh?
It's the Glencoe merch by Dan.R. McDonald.
Ross keeps forgetting to put his mic on tonight. I don't know what's happened to him.
But I wasn't going to say anything, so it didn't matter.
Dan.R. McDonald. Yeah.
Listen, guys, can I just say to you both before we
Ross, mic music.
Before we lose you here just now, Mary Beth and Kenny, thank you so much for your time tonight. And Kenny, do you have a website at all? Or do you?
No. I've got a proper job. I should get to the back. I should get back to the stage of having a website in life. That'd be a good thing.
Kenny, whoa. Can I just, we've been very, very kind to Kenny tonight. And his parting words is he's got a real job. Is there any other way you'd like to express that sentiment?
No, that came out all wrong. I unreservedly withdraw that previous comment.
Hey, I've got a council job as well. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Mary Beth, thank you so much for joining us as well. And I hope we can all keep in touch and hear each other's stuff. Mary Beth does have a website. It was displayed earlier on, so you can look that back if you want. And I'm sure you'll find out an awful lot about her, because as Ross did some research and he did find out a lot about her. So all we can say is Kenny and Mary Beth, thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you sometime again. We're going to leave Ross and me on the screen here, hopefully, if Rebecca hasn't fallen asleep. So thanks, guys. Thank you. Right, Ross, what do you think of that? We've had some show tonight.
Very much so. Very good. I think we've been outdone again, Peter, have we?
There's some incredible musicians out there. Listen, folks, that's us coming to the end of the show for tonight. Thanks again to Rebecca, who's backstage doing all that techie work. The ghost, she calls herself tonight. All it really means is she can sit in her pajamas with a beer while we're slogging out the front here, eh? But anyway, what I was going to say was we've got a great show for you next week too. We've got on next week, we have Kevin Henderson, the fiddle player. Kevin plays with the Boys of the Loch, Fiddler's Bid, Session A9, and Kevin actually lives over in Norway, so he's going to join us for Norway next Sunday night. And we also have on a local Cape Bretoner to yourselves. We have on Morgan Tony, and Morgan is a McNaughton fiddler, so I'm really looking forward to that as well, to hearing a wee bit about the history there involved with the music, etc. So all I can say really is thank you very much for tonight. Ross, are you there still? Are you?
Yeah, my mic is my mic again. I'm getting.
Yeah, good man. Have you anything you would like to say or thank anybody? Or
you could be all night thanking people, but Ripple FM. FX, sorry, yourself, the musicians that come on, the audience that are getting involved, it's fantastic. It's brilliant.
Please remember and share the show. We want to build this show up as big as we can, get it going. The music's great. It's helping pull people together, and we're getting a lot of comments up there, folks, in best show so far. So that's great. Thank you for that. So I'm ready for a cup of tea now, I think. I'm just thriving. I am.
Well, listen, you've done well yourself. You're doing great. You're doing great as a host. You're doing great as a host.
I think you've done great as a host too, and getting the big pipes on tonight was lovely, because it was great to hear the big pipes too. Really nice.
I know.
So Listen, folks, we'll keep in touch with you. There'll be adverts coming up. As I said, next week we've got Kevin Henderson on from Norway. We've got Morgan Tony on from Cape Breton. It's going to be another cracking show.
Aye,
Watch
great,
in for
great
it.
show. Aye.
Thank you very much, and it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
There's copyright involved there. Right? See you later. Good night, folks. Good night.